Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another descended deck profile, and this time I will be covering the Direful Doll Master Androld. So this is a very interesting deck. First I was like just want to try out how the new Dark State stuff works. So I also get the split and get the Dark State playset basically, because I also play Greedon, so when I see the support it's like okay, just jump in because it isn't that expensive while we don't have the faded units yet. And this deck really surprised me that it might not be very offensive and like very OP kind of strong, but then it really can survive very long. It can, and it just depending on how you build the deck, it can be very tough to deal with, because if you don't get some good amount of attacks and a lot of good high power attacks, it really takes you ages to break through, or you might not even break through it. So let's look into the content and I will explain more. Alright, so the right line is just the Direful Doll card, so you don't need to worry about like not having enough. Of course we will have more, but then the right line while you have this is better for you. Now what the grade 1 does is if you write the grade 2 on it, right, then you can look at the top 7, choose 2 cards with Direful Doll in the card names, from them put into your soul and shuffle the deck. You do need to try to stock in a lot of Direful Dolls, so that when your graveyard calls 3 or more out, you will get the extra drive, which is very important for your survival, and also important to apply threat to your opponents, because you are doing 3 checks more than rather than 2 checks. So that kind of pressure is really a good thing to force a PG from opponent's hand, especially if they are using a lot of defensive stuff. They might want to PG you first to like kind of avoid get killed by over trigger, and then they think of what to guard. And as long as you can keep like using their PGs, one day they will just break the guard. So as long as you can keep the things rotating, I think you will have a very high chance to actually win games with this deck. Now, the great one that when this unit attacks a boost, if you have a Graveyard or Heart Vanguard with Direful Doll in its card name, you may have this unit to get plus 5k in the battle. If you do, at the end of battle, you bind this unit. And once you bind it, then you can start using them as extra guard for using your graveyard skill. So before we go to the graveyard, let's talk about the grade 2 first. When this unit is rolled upon by graveyard or heart, Direful Doll in its card name, call this to Riga Circle. Very simple skill. They can immediately use her in the battle. And when this unit is placed on Riga Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Direful Doll in its card name, put a card with Direful Doll in its card name from hand to soul, draw a card. So you increase your soul stock, and you also get a hand back, and then choose one of Vanguard, and that unit and this unit will get power plus 5k until end of turn. So slightly adjusting the power to another level, not that easy to guard, because 18k is sometimes weird number to guard with. A 15k shield for a 30k Vanguard is only still a 1 pass while you are doing 3 checks, so that can be very scary. And so far she has no skill to bind herself like the Great One, so you might need to actually reuse your Great One, so do be careful on that. But Grade 2 we do have multiple copies to keep rotating cards and make it stronger and make your stock heavier. Now let's talk about our Doll Master, what he does. Now first is a once per turn Vanguard Circle count +1, just up to the same number of Workaloid with Direful Doll in the card name from your soul as your opponent's Vanguard's grade. According to Vanguard Circle, if you call 3 or more cards, this unit will get +1 drive. As I said before, the +1 drive is actually quite important, and as long as your opponents get to grade 3, you are basically a counter +1 get 3 unit and then do triple drive every single turn. But you do need to keep stocking your Direful Dolls into your soul, so do be careful while using these units and try to stock up your cards. If you don't get enough, then it might not help you at all. And then when this unit is being attacked, choose up to 1 Workaloid with Direful Dolls in the card name from your bind zone. So for example, this will bind herself. Then you can immediately use them from your bind zone to the Guardian Circle, and they will get +5k shield until the end of the battle. Now, this skill will activate every single battle that involve this unit. So, if you get attacked multiple times, then you can do it multiple times. But every single attack, you can only use one of the Direful Dolls from the bind zone, which is a Workaloid, as a +5k shield guard. So, if you put a grade 3 down, you can still get the 5k shield because this will +5k shield, and these ones will become 10k shields, right? And once you use them up, you can put them back into the soul, call them out again, or find another way to bind them again, and then you can keep reusing them. And like, the more you stock in your soul and the more you stock on your bind zone, meaning you're more offensive because you have more units to call out, you get triple drive, and you are very defensive because you might not even need to use a single hand if your opponents hit you very small. For example, with Magnolia, even they are doing 6 attacks, they are usually doing 18 to 25, right? So if they're only doing 18, you just, okay, bind zone 1, another 18, bind zone 1, and your hand has not been changed. So that is one reason why this deck is so tough to beat, because the more resources you stock, and the most important thing is you can keep recycling them. So it's not a once-off, it's not like a easy to run out of resources. So yeah, that's why I like this deck so much. And it's a very cheap option as well, so if you're trying to enter the game with like a lower budget, then I think this is one of the choice, even though you do need to get a little bit of expensive stuff as well, but we'll cover that in a bit. Next we have 3 more Direful Doll Master because the personalized pressure is important. He himself is also a Direful Doll, so yeah, it's something that you can probably consider to reuse, even though he is a human, is not a Workaloid, but he at least got the name. So for example, I think you can use her because you just need to put 1 Direful Doll card into your soul. So like, if you really need an emergency draw, you can still kind of do it. Next, we have another key card in the deck, which is a Direful Doll Liberetta. So she is a grade 3, but don't worry because your Vanguard will get +5k shield if she's being called from the bind zone, so she can still be some kind of a defensive card for you, especially when you are facing like a small swing that you only need 5k shield. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle or put on the Guardian Circle, if you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Direful Doll in its card name, choose a card with Direful Doll in its card name from your drop and put it into soul. So it's another card that can simply stock up your cards, no matter for the next turn or for the turn that you want to actually go aggressively. And when this unit attacks, if you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Direful Doll in its card name, you may have this unit to get power +10k until the end of the battle, and if you do, at the end of the battle, bind this unit and you can choose to counter +1 to draw a card. So it's a simple 23k beater that can be reused because she will go to the bind zone, and then you will use your Vanguard skill to use her to guard, and she will bring another card into your soul, and she will go to the drop zone, and then you can keep reusing by putting her back into soul and then call her out again. So she can be useful as a regard, she can be useful as a guardian. That's why this card is so impressive. Not only that, it help you stock up stuff, it also is a way for you to push higher because she is a 23k beater. So any sort of power plus will make her even stronger, and as long as she's stronger, she's one way to be the breakthrough point while you are doing the triple drive. So there's no reason you shouldn't, like, you should be maxing her out no matter what, I think. And because she's a Direful Doll, so yeah, there we go. And then we have Direful Doll Providenza, kind of like a Providence in his name. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or higher unit, if you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Direful Doll in his card name, this unit will get plus 10k until the end of the battle. So it's kind of like her, but she's only 20k. At the end of the battle, this unit attack, if you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Direful Doll in his card name, you get Energy Blast free, and bind this unit, choose a Workaloid with Direful Doll in his different card name from this unit from the soul, and call it to Vanguard Circle. So this is one reason that you shouldn't be using your Energy Blast 7 to draw cards, because this plus 3 is just 10. You have to suck up to 10 to do both stuff, but you might have multiple copies and you want to do more attacks because she is changing herself into something else, and that requires Energy Blast 3. And if you want to do 5 attacks with 2 of her on board, you need 6 energy. So make sure you don't waste all your energies. Now, even though she might not be easy to find, but once she just appears somewhere, you can immediately put her into soul with this, and then you can use your Vanguard skill to pull her out and do the multiple attacks. And she herself is already a 20k body, so unless your opponents already get a defensive trigger, you can always try to hit. So yeah, it's a very interesting unit that might not always appearing, but then when she appears with your triple drive and maybe personalized, because it kind of requires both Vanguard to be grade 3 to be useful, so she is not something that you can do an early rush for. But once you get to the personalized, once you're trying to do the triple drive, then she can be very, very scary, because like she can bait out all your opponent's shield and then turn into another unit that can still attack, for example her %K, and suddenly just swing again and your opponents don't have enough cards to guard. So yeah, depending on what you have in your soul, she can be a very, very strong attack extender, so do be careful. And then we have 3 more dolls, because we do want to focus on the dolls, and her simple power buff with the draw is great, so there we go. And then 4 of the Tiskar, so she is yet another reason why you should not be using 7 Energy Blast to draw a card, because she can use 3 energy to help you draw a card, and you just need to balance the usage between these two with the energy, then I think you should be fine. Because most of our Carabus will need to be like safe for her, for him. I was trying to point her, but him to gain the triple drive and combo units out, and her in case if you need an extra card, right? So do try not to use the Carabus for this draw, but if you really need to, I think, or maybe you actually have like tons of Carabus to kind of use, then maybe that's a good choice, because sometimes you need to use the Carabus to draw this to actually save energy for 5 attacks, and then as long as you can keep one Carabus for this, I think you're fine as well. So depending on the situation, but at least in this deck is another example that you don't need to energy blast 7 to draw a card unless you have that desperate, right? Okay, and then 2 of the cats. Even though I don't think myself will do it 2 times, but when I really need to do it, or when I do have certain dolls rotating themselves, then I think it might be a good option to use the second one. It is here not for the soul charge, it's always for the plus 15k shield, because this deck is tough, but you don't want to kind of keep wasting your dolls on places where you don't think it's a need to. And sometimes, even though these dolls are giving you a good shield, but your opponents can still attack you with a very high power. And for example, if you're facing against like Welstra, they will minus you as well, so you do need to find extra shield value somewhere, and the cat will be a very good option for you to do so. And then free spotter, you might like think why Elmesh just cards are here, but she is actually a very important cycle card for your triggers. Not only that, she can be an 18k boost, but you can bind the triggers while helping your Vanguard to have extra shield value, because we do have Workaloids shields that can actually save you, and they are Direful Dolls. And as long as you can bind those triggers, you will get extra 5k on those triggers, and then you can just use them, go back to the drop zone, put them to your soul again, bind them again, reuse them again. And that is another reason why this deck is so tough. And you will see the trigger choices that I use that can make this happen. Okay. And then I have 3 of the Falcate Performer. Now, I was using the this guy or this girl, I don't know. So this card, just to be specific, let's put it here for a while. That to put 2 cards from the drop zone into the soul. I was using that, but then when my friend actually take my deck to play, he thinks Falcate Performer is actually better. Now, for a few reasons. Let's compare these 2. Now, this you need to hit, and I was using Felino at the time, and it's a very defensive deck. And as I said, because I am facing a triple drive Vanguard, I always PG that attack. And he plays it behind the Vanguard, basically. And so this like never pops unless it's very early game. But with Falcate Performer, you can always find something to put into your soul, right? And because grade 0 will only have 1 inside your soul unless you start putting the triggers. That means as long as you call the grade 0 out as a booster, that means you can, whenever you use Falcate Performer to boost, you can simply find a trigger put into your soul. Or if you already used your Vanguard skill to call some units out, you can use Falcate Performer to put in the cards that is already like pulled it out, because those grade 2, grade 3s are already out. That means you have a choice to put grade 2, grade 3s into your soul, right? because as long as you don't have those grades inside your soul that you're being pulled out by your Doll Master, you can actually recycle them. It is not like massive soul charging, but then it's a soul charge that is very flexible for you to give you different choices, right? Depending on the situation. So far, with testing on like a whole day, we think Velk performance is actually performing better. So I don't think so far I see list people using this. They all go for the Steam card. But I think it's like kind of a playstyle difference. But if you are facing decks that are very defensive, which can be happening in the future as well, I think Velk Performer will actually do the job better, kind of. And also, don't forget, because when you use your cats, you can actually take the 0 and 1s out, or the 0 and 2s out. Then this gives you the space to actually use your Velk Performer to find the right grades that you want to put into your soul, so that you can start calling out units a lot easier, because you will run out eventually, and this is a better feeling for you. Okay, and then there are another Direful Dolls, Pelagia. At the end of the battle this unit boost, if you have a Vanguard with Direful in this card name, you can bind this unit, choose up to 2 cards with Direful Doll in their card names for a drop, and put them into your soul. So this is another way to stock up your souls. And Guardian Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Direful Doll in this card name, this unit will get plus 5k shield. So when she's using as a defensive card from your bind zone, this will be a total of 15k shield just by herself. So yet another defensive tough card. And then I am ending it with 4 PGs. If you want to use the Blizzard, feel free to do it. Now, triggers. This is the probably the 2 decks that I think the Dark State Silver trigger can be very helpful. Because once you pull that off, it is a plus 10k plus crit, and your Vanguard will have triple drive. It will be a monster. Your opponent has to guard every single attacker with Vanguard, so it actually fits. Even though if you want to use other OT, like the Fire Elemental if you want to, but because your Vanguards don't gain crit, I don't think that's actually helping you too much. The Water Elemental is also working, depending on what you need, but I think when we have the time to actually make this useful, let's do it. And then with crit first, we have 4 Direful Doll crits, so that means whenever they get bind, they are trying to get shields. And then 4 more other crits, because there isn't another Direful Doll crits, so there we are. And then 3 draws, 10k draws. I put it as a more crit focus, because when we are doing more than 2 drives, we can actually put the crits elsewhere and then apply the pressure. And ending the deck with 4 Direful Dolls 10k shield heals. Now, they are 10k shield heals, but they are Direful Dolls. That means when you bind them and use them from the bind zone as Guardian, they will return to be a normal 15k shield. Plus, if you are facing Stride decks, or maybe Grade 4 decks, because their Vanguard grade will be higher than you, you will get an extra 10k shield. So for example, if you are facing Lord, if you are facing Shuranoi, if you are facing Chrono Jet, whatever Grade 4 that you're facing, they are 25k shield just by 1 card. So this is just like a G Guardian, right? So she shines so much just because of that, because of the name, because of her skill to the meta, and then with your Vanguard skill. And because worse than worse, you are facing a Gravely Vanguard is still a 15k shield. And if that happens, you can actually choose to bind the crit instead to get a 20k shield. So I don't think you will lose by using anything. And early games, if you are going second when your opponents are always higher grade than you can still get the extra shield for the early game, so you don't need to worry about big power or bigger power early push. If they swing you for very big, then of course you don't have a choice. You might just have to take it, but you have the chance to actually have a higher shield value card to defend for your early game, and then they can turn into something bigger in the later game. Yeah, so that's it for deck list, and I also talked about why specific options are good already. So if you have any questions you want to ask about the deck, feel free to ask. But so far with the playtesting that we did, this deck is so impressive. One thing that I haven't tried is actually use my Vanguard deck to try to break through the guard, but I will try that and see how hard it can. But when two defensive deck are facing themselves, it really takes quite a time to break through, and it also makes me learn about both sides on what are the moments to crush, what are the moments to stay, because this deck, if you don't have counterblast, it will be a bit tough, because if you don't have the triple drive and you don't have the extra units out, and those units that keep getting popped every single turn, that might be tough. But with the extra strategies, like with the crit, with the heals, that kind of stuff can actually help you survive. And while our meta is still kind of full of Grave Wars, I think this deck has a actual chance to block most of the attacks. And while your opponent is doing triple drive, you are also doing triple drive and trying to do multiple attacks. That can actually help. So yeah, give this deck a try. Most of the stuff aren't expensive, I think. If you're buying a split, then most expensive is this card. So the rest is just the little cat. It is inexpensive. This is getting reprinted. I get it as a reprint as well. This is only a common. And yeah, that's basically it. So give it a try. Let me know your thoughts. And of course, subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, unboxing videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.